Here are my favorite ways to be ready for pullbacks in ES futures uptrends. Been looking at trading, studying, analyzing ES futures for over 26 years as of this video, and I use price action, market timing, and momentum to boost my trading and that of my tribes, and that's what we're going to dive into now. So I'm going to use the current market action at the time of this video to give you exact pointers for what you can look for. Before we do that, important reminder that trading and investing can be extremely risky business. Therefore, it's your responsibility to evaluate any information, opinion, advice, or content contained in this video. All right, so what I've got here on this screen are two charts. One is the E-mini S&P 500 futures daily chart. The other is the 60-minute chart. They're both of the current front month, which is June 2026. So I'm going to show you what led to me determining that the ES was in a strong trend, and then the clues that led to me being ready for the pullback instead of trying to buy near the short-term top, okay? So first off, as you can see in the daily chart, this was in an uptrend. And I have a series of days here that were strong uptrend days. Now they're labeled with these colors, red, blue, and yellow, so that I can map out and show you what that looked like on the 60-minute chart. If you're trading intraday like me, whether that's scalp or day trading, you definitely want to be considering what the 60-minute chart is doing. In all my years, I've seen that this is like the pulse of this market, okay? Even if you don't put your trades on it, look at it and study it. And you can save time on that by getting my Skinny in the Mini report that's currently in my ES Futures Outlook service. It's the most affordable way I've ever offered it. Now, let's come back to the chart here. So this red daily candle is representative of what happened here with this gap lower, okay? It was news fueled. But the key is that as the overnight action unfolded, the market started to recover higher, and it continued higher from there. And I had pointed that out in my report for that day. What we want to focus on here is how do you know when the action is going to stop, right? Because this blue line on this daily chart is now showing when the action started on the 60. So that was the next leg up. Okay, so I'm just showing you the trend to identify even. And then we had Wednesday unfold, and it was another up day. A little bit of a pause in the overnight, and then this up action. So how could I have known? Okay, so I'm going to ease into what was happening in the overnight action on a Thursday that got me ready to say, hey, you know what? I don't think we should be buying this thing on the action at the open. It needs to probably have a pullback, and then we can see from there. So there were a few clues. So focus in on the 60-minute chart. So the first factor is if you're trading ES futures or index futures or anything that kind of moves similar to this action, if you have 3 strong green days, that's your first sign that there might be a bit of profit taking, okay? It doesn't mean the uptrend's over. It just means that the market might have a little bit of a breather. And at the New York Open, things may not be strong. So don't get lulled into that just because it happened for a couple days. The next thing is to look at momentum. And I love using the RSI power zones. This I dive into in my 4 zones RSI coverage system. And there was a disconnect between price and momentum here. That was my first sign that, hey, bulls might be taking profit and there may be further short-term downside in the early hours of the day. Now, after that, you want to actually look at the key price levels that are maintaining any individual part of the uptrend. So in this move higher, okay, it's actually this little guy, 7068.25, this low here that was maintaining the uptrend from the prior day's low. Once I saw during the overnight action, meaning before 9:30 a.m. Eastern, that was already broken, I was like, hey, that plus the momentum signal plus 3 days up, we're probably gonna have some profit taking. So between the momentum signal here and the break of this low, I already had a heads up that there was going to be a pullback, and that's what unfolded. So this was 6 a.m. I published my skinny analysis before 8 a.m. Eastern, and then boom, there was a big drop lower. So this allowed me and my subscribers to be prepared to stay out of the way and not try to buy until the market showed it was done correcting lower. Once the pullback unfolds, then you can look for news as of evidence. And in this case, there was a stabilization. It wasn't a giant pullback, and it started to continue higher. So those are my tips for you to be ready for when there's going to be a significant pullback, because it really stinks to have 3 trading days like this where you are actually seeing a lot of awesome action. You're able to jump in and ride the bull trend, right? And then give it back on the 4th day because you just thought the ship was going to keep going in the same direction. So remember, pullbacks can happen, and those were the clues that kept me out of the way of this morning ugliness before the uptrend resumed. So I hope you found value in this video. If you want to get my take on the E-mini S&P 500 futures every morning, be sure to join me in my ES Futures Outlook. That's my current service that contains my well-known Skinny and the Mini report. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you'd like to get more videos like this, and I'll catch you next time. You can sign up at the link to get hot, timely, actionable updates as soon as I publish right to your inbox.